Hello, bonjour et bienvenue sur French Tutorial. Welcome to French Tutorial. Today we are going to continue our lesson on conjugation of verbs in French. We are going to continue to learn the meaning of conjugation, how to conjugate some regular verbs today, and to make simple sentences with regular verbs. In our last video, we learned to make simple sentences with irregular verbs. So, if you're just joining us for the first time, please go back and watch that video. It will be very useful to you. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, this is just the right time to do so. Hit that subscription button and subscribe to our channel so that anytime we upload new videos for you, you will be notified immediately. So on y va, let's continue. Talking about la conjugation, that's how it is called in French. La conjugation, that's conjugation. What is conjugation? Conjugation simply means to put the verb in the right form in a sentence. To conjugate a verb simply means to write the correct form of the verb in the sentence. Alright? Yes, there are things that you consider before you do that. Now, the first is to consider the person. If you're going to make a sentence with a verb, you have to consider the person. Is it first person, singular, second person? So when we say the person, we mean the pronoun or the noun that is involved. You also consider the time. Am I talking in the present or in the past or future? You also consider the number of persons. Is it one person or more? So it's either singular or plural. For instance, in the third person, in the singular, you can't say we go for the verb to go. You say he go. You can't say he go. You say he goes. That's singular. All right. You also consider the mode of the verb. Is the verb an indicative statement? Is it functioning in an imperative statement, that's a command, or is the verb functioning in a conditional statement or subjunctive statement? So these are what you consider before you come up with a particular form. For instance, in the present tense, I see. If I'm talking about the first person singular, I see. In the third person, he or she sees. If it is the past tense, he saw. All right, so these are what you consider before you choose the form. Okay, so straight away, let's go to conjugation of some regular verbs. Like we already know from our last video, the verbs are grouped into two major groups according to the pattern they take in conjugation. So we have the regular and the irregular verbs. All right. Yes, we already learned that the irregular verbs do not take a regular pattern while conjugating them, whereas the regular verbs take a regular pattern. So we have some examples of these irregular verbs which you have conjugated in the last video, and today we're going to look at the regular verbs. And for these regular verbs for today, we have the verb donner, parler, habiter, aimer. There are so many verbs. And there's something you need to learn or note about regular verbs. The regular verbs, there are so many of them. And so they have some other subgroups according to their endings in the infinitive, okay? The regular verbs are grouped into smaller groups, again, according to their endings in the infinitive. Some end in ER, some end in IR, some end in RE. So today we are going to look at the verbs that end in the ER. So we are going to conjugate the ER verbs today. So we've written some of them, like the verb parler. You can see it ends in ER, like already shown you in the last slide. There's some of them. So now we have the verb parler, parler, to speak. So to conjugate it in the present tense, you say Je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle, elle parle. And that simply means I speak, you speak, he or she speaks, we speak, you speak, they speak. Once again, I'll take it. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle, elle parle. So if you want to say I speak Igbo, I'll say je parle Igbo. I speak Yoruba, je parle Yoruba. I speak French, je parle français, je parle anglais. So the verb parler, the verb to speak. Let's look at the next verb we have. We have the verb danser. The verb danser, which is the verb to dance. Danser. Some of us like dancing. The verb danser, the verb to dance. So let's conjugate it in the present tense. Je danse, tu danses, il danse, elle danse, nous dansons, vous dansez, il danse, elle danse. Now, let's check out these verbs, the pattern they take in conjugation. Like we already note that the verbs take the same pattern. That's why they are regular. That's why they belong to the same group. They take a regular pattern in conjugation. So let's look at what happened here. We can see here that in the first person, okay, of course, first of all, they all end in er. They all end in er, right? Yes, er. And in the first person, as we can see, after the er is taken away, you have the radical. So here also, when the er is taken away, you have the radical. So when you get these er verbs, you want to start conjugating them. The first thing is to take away the er. The remaining one is the radical. You start adding, okay, these endings to them. So in the first person, e, it ends in e. The second person, es. The third person, e. First person plural, ons. Second person plural, ez. And third person plural, ent. The same thing that's happened here. You can see dance, dance, es, ons, ez, ent. So that's the verb parler, danser in the present tense. Simple present. Okay, let's go on and look at some other er verbs that we have for us. Now the next is the verb aimer, which is the verb to like. The verb aimer, to like or to love. So let's see how it takes. In the first person, j'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, il aime, elles aiment. We can see the pattern continues in the first person, es, ons, ez, ent. Now, the verb habiter, j'habite, tu habites, il habite, elle habite, nous habitons, vous habitez, il habite, elles habitent. The same ending. But there's something peculiar to these two verbs. You see, in the first person, they all have J apostrophe. J apostrophe. This is because this verb starts with a vowel. And they start with a semi-vowel. And in French, whenever the verb begins with a vowel, in the first person, you have J apostrophe. You will not write the je in full. This is because there's a clash in the vowel sound here. So, E has been swallowed. So it is what we call Elysian in French. Elysian. Elysian in English language. It happens also. So whenever you have the verb beginning with a vowel or semi-vowel, semi-vowel is just H, then you know you in the first person it will take J apostrophe. Okay, so the verb aimer, j'aime, like I said, the verb to like. J'aime ma mère, I like my mother. Tu aimes danser, you like dancing. Nous aimons voyager, we like traveling. So the verb aimer, you can use it to express whatever you like or you love. Then the verb habiter is the verb to reside or to live. So j'habite à Londres, I live in London. Tu habites au Nigeria, you live in Nigeria. So that's the verb you use when you want to give your address, want to give your location, okay, the where you reside. That's the verb you use. Nous habitons à Lagos, we live in Lagos. So let's go on. The next verb on our agenda is the ER verbs that end with GER. Now we're going to look at this verb because even though they also take the same pattern, but there is a slight difference somewhere. So just watch out. The first one we'll look at is the verb voyager. The verb voyager is to travel. Voyager is to travel. So let's conjugate the verb voyager. Je voyage, tu voyages, il voyage, elle voyage, nous voyageons, vous voyagez, il voyage, elle voyage. Now you can see this verb takes the same regular pattern, but here it's additional E. There's an additional E before the ONS. So here the E, you have EONS. And also we're going to see the verb manger. You can see it also ends in GER. Manger, voyager, they end in G. Je mange, tu manges, il mange, elle mange, nous mangeons, vous mangez, il mange, elle mange. So you can see in the first person plural, it ends in EONS. It ends in EONS. So anytime the verb ends with G, voyager, manger, you have to add E before the ONS while you're conjugating it. This is just to get the G sound, okay? Mangeons. If you don't add the E before the ONS, it will sound gon. So instead of mangeons, you have mangon. And the French people don't say that. They rather say mangeons, voyageons. Okay, so let's have some expressions. Je voyage tout le week-end. I travel all the weekend, every weekend. Je mange du pain. Je mange du riz. Just to express what you eat, okay? So let's move on. Now we are going to look at another verb, the verb travailler. The verb travailler is the verb to work. Now I'm giving you this verb because you will need it when you want to talk about where you work, all right? Je travaille, tu travailles, il travaille, elle travaille, nous travaillons, vous travaillez, il travaille, elle travaille. Je travaille à Abuja. I work in Abuja. Vous travaillez ici. Do you work here? So the verb travailler. Je travaille comme professeur. I work as a teacher. All right, so that's the verb you use to express sometimes your occupation or where you work. All right, so let's also take some expressions with all the verbs that we have been seeing, conjugating. Je travaille à Eco Hotel. I work in Eco Hotel. Tu voyages ce weekend? Do you travel this weekend? Will you traveling this weekend? Il habite aux Seychelles. He lives in Seychelles. Nous parlons anglais. Nous parlons anglais. We speak English. Vous dansez bien. You dance well. Vous dansez bien. You dance well. Elle mange du pain. They are eating bread. They eat bread. Elle mange du pain. Alright, so now over to you. À vous maintenant. I hope you have learned how to conjugate these simple ER verbs and you can make simple expressions with these verbs. So I have these verbs for you. Please try and conjugate them at the comment section and I will look at them and I will correct you if there's any. Just try and practice this conjugation on the comment section, okay? And if you have any question, don't hesitate to type it there in the comment section and you're rest assured that I will give you all the attention that you need. Alright, so here again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so now. If you have watched this video till now, it means you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our channel to be able to be carried along anytime we upload new videos for you. So at this point, what do we say again? From the desk of French tutorial with Dora, we say merci beaucoup d'avoir resté avec nous. Au revoir et à la prochaine.